Good morning, everyone. Donna Miller here for episode number 3 of what I have come to call Avoiding the Shiny Object. So in our first 2 sessions, we talked a little bit about target market, we talked about focus, we talked about execution. And so this morning, I would like to spend the next 10 minutes talking to you more about focus, about how I feel it's so important in being able to achieve the goals that hopefully you've set. And so I'm going to really, all I ever talk about is the things that have worked for me. So last session we talked about one of the concepts in the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, and that concept is WIGs, Wildly Important Goals. So how do you establish your wildly important goals? What makes up a wildly important goal? How many wildly important goals can you have? Well, wildly important goals are those things that will significantly drive your business forward. So each of us as business owners are responsible for determining what those wildly important goals are. And the law of diminishing return, big words, tells you that the more WIGs you have, the less you're actually going to get done. So Chris McChesney in 4DX, which is what I'm going to be calling the 4 Disciplines of Execution from this point out because it's such a long name. Chris McChesney in 4DX says that you can really only execute on 1 to 2 wildly important goals before your results just start to become completely diluted. So when I teach the Earn More program, which will be kicking off in a couple of weeks. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Don. Glad to see you. Feel free, everyone, to type questions or comments into the comments section. Be sure to sign your comment with your website because we want to make this an online networking format as well. So 1 to 2 WIGs. And the reason is you just can't do more than that. So what are some of those things that will really drive your business forward? Consider the 80-20 rule. 20% of what you do will drive 80% of your results. In the Earn More program, we, as we talked about in the first session here, really help our participants to get clear on their target market. We try to identify niches because you can have a far greater impact in a small market than you will in the ocean. You can't try and boil the ocean. So what's the target market? Once you start to determine the DNA of that ideal client, what I like to do in terms of creating WIGs is set a goal for how am I going to reach the referral sources or the strategic partners that are already in front of massive numbers of my ideal target market. So I'll share some of the things that have worked for me. Clearly, my target market are business owners, entrepreneurs. They happen to be, most of them, in the B2B arena. They are just starting to generate revenue up to probably 1 to 2 million, and many of them are in the creative service arena. So that's still a pretty big target market, and so strategic partnerships are really important for my organization. So in order to create those strategic partnerships, I like to document things. So, hi Christine. So what I do is I create a WIG of developing 1 to 2 new strategic partnerships per year. Now, if one of your WIGs is to develop strategic partnerships, I have to tell you, this is a long game. You have to be in it for the long term. It's not going to happen overnight, thus avoiding the shiny object. So what I like to do whenever I start a new initiative is I take some time writing. Who am I? What do I bring to the table in that relationship? What would make a good strategic partner? And you need to get specific. Is it an organization? Is it a company? How long have they been in business? What's their target market? What are their values? That's going to be really important to me in forming strategic partnerships. As you all know, I lead a values-driven organization, so I want to make sure that's going to be a cornerstone for any relationship for me. So what do I bring to the table? What do they bring to the table? How does this become a win-win scenario? So it always, whenever you're doing any marketing, the reality is it always has to be what's in it for them, not about what's in it for me. Yes, that's so true, Christine. So it's never about what's in it for me. It's about creating these situations that really work for both parties, and that's where the magic really happens. Melissa, it's so good to see you. So strategic partnerships. I have several in place. There are several events that I do throughout the year. In May, we do a small business week celebration, and I guess I'll use that one as a starter. So Small Business Week celebration, last year we had 200 people. We had some great content. We had panel discussions. I had subject matter experts. So how did that start out? It started pen to paper. What's my vision for this event? Why am I doing this event? What do I want to get out of it? So after a lot of writing, I came up with who am I, who are they, how do we work together? And that's a very Reader's Digest version of how I did it. But we ended up having a great event with many sponsors and co-marketers and about 12 to 15 subject matter experts. Now the win-win was, frankly, I did all the work on the event, but I had these fantastic speakers come in, so I got to position myself as a thought leader. And for me, that's what my strategic partnerships are about, is creating thought leadership, giving back to be able to generate and drive referrals. So the speakers were able to present themselves in front of nearly 200 people, and that's still a pretty good day for just about anybody I know. And the audience had an amazing array of information that could help them to grow their business. So absolutely, Christine, that event was not the end. In fact, it was the beginning, which is how I will finish out my time here for this episode of Avoiding the Shiny Object. That Small Business Week celebration has now, of course, I did a lot of follow-up work. You have to do the follow-up. You cannot avoid the follow-up. That is where the money is. But now I have also modified the Earn More program to incorporate that winning formula of subject matter expert collaboration. So now the Earn More program, which kicks off in a couple of weeks, several of those subject matter experts from the Small Business Week celebration are going to be participating and bringing their expertise to that program. So again, I'm giving them a platform. They're helping me deliver an amazing program, positioning us as the small business resource that we are, and the audience has a much richer and deeper experience. And I have to say that setting strategic partnerships as a wildly important goal for my company brings me great personal satisfaction. I firmly believe, obviously, in the power, yes you do, Christine, in the power of collaboration. I believe it's the kinder and gentler way to get to where we want to be. It's worked well for us. Obviously, we rebranded the company on that premise. The C3 stands for Connect, Collaborate, Community. So, determine what your wildly important goals are. Maybe one of them is creating strategic partnerships, but be very strategic about them. Be in it for the long game. Get clear on what makes it work for you, what makes it work for them, and what makes it work for your target market. Now, all of this means, and I'm going to leave you with one little thought. Once you establish your wildly important goals, and this is where I'm at right now, that means you will have to say no to some really good ideas. So, I think next episode, because believe it or not, we're already out of time. Next episode, I'd like to spend some time talking to all of you about saying no, because it is something you absolutely have to learn to do. We'd love to help you gain focus, gain clarity. Love to talk to you about the Earn More program. You can message me on Facebook. You can visit our website, which is www.c3workplace.com. And I wish you a warm and fabulous rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode. Take care, everyone.